Hey, good evening, everybody. It is 8:45 p.m. on May the 28th, 2019, the day after Memorial Day. I'd like to take care of the housekeeping before we get started today. First and foremost, you can reach Once Wayward at area code 414. The number is 9825604. Again, that's area code 414. The number is 9825604. The other thing that I'd like to call your attention to is the fact that this video, this particular time is being videotaped, and as always, in the event that there are connectivity issues, what will happen is that it will get posted again out on the Once Wayward Brethren Facebook page and out on the Once Wayward YouTube page. You can find a link to the Once Wayward Brethren Facebook page simply by going to my homepage and then finding the link there and being able to click over and get whatever it is that you need as far as being able to look at the videos or any of the other videos that have been done. Also, I'm asking that you would like and follow and subscribe, and if you hear anything that piques your interest and you think that might be of value to some of your friends, by all means feel free to share the fact that we're out there pretty regular as far as that's concerned. For those of you that would prefer to watch it on YouTube, it'll be out there on YouTube under the Once Wayward YouTube page. You can find that simply by clicking on search and then typing in Once Wayward. It'll bring you up to a great big giant O, and you'll find approximately 110 videos or so out there. By all means, feel free to join us at any time. What I want to do, though, is I'd like to go ahead at this particular point and to point out that I haven't been out here in quite some time, and I've been working on a series based on Ephesians 5 and 16, redeeming the times because the days are evil. I'm going to resume that, but I want to handle a different topic tonight because of the fact that hopefully we'll be able to talk about something openly and honestly that gets to people so that we understand, what it is that goes on with us. And so having said all of that, what I'd like to do is to share my personal struggle, because of the fact that it has been a very personal struggle, even though I've been on vacation and what have you. Let me put it this way. What happens with us is that we, in our relationship with God, get to that place where we're talking to God, and we're walking out our faith the way that we believe God that would have us to do it. And God takes us up to this mountain. The mountain, we'll call it the Mount of Transfiguration, so to speak. That place where we get an opportunity to see His glory in our lives. We get an opportunity to see what it is that He's doing for us, where it is that He's trying to take us. Because of course, from the top of the mount, it's always easy to look around and to see what it is that's going on, and at least to get a glimpse of where it is that you're trying to get to. Now, when we're standing on the mount, for the most part, especially for those of us that are walking our lives out as Christians, we get an opportunity to stand up on the mount, and we get to survey the land that the land in the area. And for most of us, we get to see from where we're standing, we get to see the next mountain. What we don't get to see, though, is the valley and whatever it is that happens to be down in the valley that we happen to be going towards. And that can cause us some issues sometimes, because of the fact that we're standing on the mountain, and we've seen the glory of God. We've had some things happen in our lives that we know that by no other way, shape, or form that it was anything other than God. And when we get to that place, because we've had some success, because we've had some good times, we've had some things that have happened to us that we found both exhilarating, and not only that, though, but actually bolstered our commitment to the Lord. We look at those things and we say, okay, fine, that's where we are, this is where we are. But then the reality sets in that we have to come down from the mountain. I'll give you these two. And when we're standing on the mountain, we hear things like Jesus heard when he got baptized, or when he himself was on the Mount of Transfiguration. He said, "This is my beloved Son in whom I am well pleased." And we know that when we're standing on the top of the mountain, that for the most part, we come away with the feeling that we've done things that have pleased God. But by that same token, in order for us to get to where it is that God would have us to go, we can't stay in that particular place. And I'd like to use, if I could, the example of Elijah. Basically, that story is found in 1 Kings, the 18th chapter. And what you'll find is that very shortly, in a very brief synopsis of the story, that the people had made a decision that because of the rule of Ahab and Jezebel, that they were going to, in fact, have this. They were more committed to following the pagan rituals that Jezebel had introduced as opposed to following God. Well, Elijah challenged the prophets of Baal to this contest on Mount Carmel, and of course, as we all know, at the end of that contest, he was victorious and ended up slaughtering all of the priests and prophets of Baal at that particular point, and of course the people, the Jewish people, the Israelites, said that at that particular point that God was God was the God. And as a part of all of that, the thing about it is that not only did Elijah beat the prophets of Baal, but he also prayed for rain and watched that particular thing happen. So he had these two very exhilarating things, these two exhilarating times where God had proven himself not only to him, but to those that were around him. And so Elijah, in all of this good stuff, was able to run ahead of Ahab's chariot and to run ahead before the rain came. This was a moment of triumph. This was a moment of exhilaration. This was a spiritual time where he was built up and high in the world and everything was working out okay. So the thing was that as all of this transpired, Jezebel made the decision that she was going to try to kill him. And of course, Elijah found out about that decision. And then the thing about it is that Elijah went into a despair. Well, I myself recently have gone through a time of exhilaration, a time of being able to know that God was working in my life. And what happened for me, I went on vacation, did a couple of other things. And the thing about it is that for knowing that I had been to the mountain but now having to go back down into the valley caused me to despair and caused me to reflect and to try to do the things that needed to be done, and I could not do it in my own strength. And like Elijah in the cave, I had to wait on God to tell me that it was time for me that there were some things that were going to happen, for God to do some things that were going to get me to that place where I'd be able to move through the valley in order to get to the next mountain so that I could continue the journey. The thing about it is that a lot of people are going through those very same things, and you don't have that, and they don't have a relationship with God. And in some cases, us as Christians are those beacons that will help them to make it through the valley and hopefully get them to the place where they are connecting with God. The thing about it is that not only do we help them, but we also help ourselves as we point other people towards God. I never stopped talking about God. I just stopped doing videos. I never stopped praying to God. I just quit talking so much. And the thing about it was that inside of me, there was the exhilaration of having carried burdens and done things for God and knowing that God had done it. And I guess for lack of a better way to put it, personally, I believe that you get to that point where you get used to carrying something, and then when you don't have it anymore, it feels like a sense of loss. And the thing about it is that there are a lot of people out there that are going through that very same thing where they've been carrying something for a while, and they get to that place not knowing that God is going to talk to them, that God is going to help them, that God is going to reveal to them what it is that He wants done through them next. And so they get to that place where they've let the burden go, they put the burden down, and even though they feel lighter as far as what it is that they've been carrying, mentally they've gotten to the point where they've gotten used to what it is that was going on in their lives. And so the thing about all of this is that God speaks in our despair, in our times of despair. The question becomes, Are we willing to listen? He provides us with instructions as we move through from the valley to the next mountaintop. And the thing about it, are we willing to follow him? Are we willing to go where it is that he leads? And are we willing more than anything else to help and grab someone else by the hand and be able to talk to them and to help to lead them to where it is that God would have them to go? I just wanted to leave that with you tonight so that you had something to think about, knowing that we're going to be resuming, remembering the times, the days are evil, and as a subtopic, it's redeeming the times and remembering. We're going to segue into time as we get ready to wrap that portion of it up. May God bless and keep you, and we'll talk to you later.